The events in this program are inspired by a true story. Names, dates, and details have been changed. Viewer discretion is advised. On this episode of Bizarre Murders, life in Liberty, Texas is as quiet as it gets.
I'd like my favorite, a piece of cherry pie, if you would.
Coming right up.
Until a series of murders begins with human and mannequin victims.
What the heck?
Can police catch the killer before he strikes again? Or will the bodies pile up faster than a sneeze through a screen door?
Damn, this town's going to hell in a handcart.
Liberty, the small town with a heart as big as Texas. Life here is about the good Lord, good people, and good food.
Refill?
Thank you kindly, little lady.
The law runs deep through Sheriff Walker's blood. His daddy and granddaddy were both town sheriff.
So I heard them Wilson boys have been stirring up a little trouble.
Oh, yeah. They were as drunk as Cooter Brown. I found them up at the Henderson farm, tipping cows. I tell you, Dallas, these boys, they're a few pickles short of a barrel.
Oh, Sheriff, you're so funny. Oh, my goodness.
Sheriff! I need to be talking to you out here.
All right. Excuse me, ma'am.
So I'm crossing the road, right? And I look across the street, and I see something right there. You see? She's over yonder. I think it's Lady Bird.
Why do you think that?
I know her hairdresser. That's her cut in color. She's a total bum.
Hey. I got it from here. You're going home now, yeah? Go on. Ain't that nuttier than a squirrel's turd.
When Sheriff Walker examines the body, he confirms that it's local wife and cheerleading coach, Lady Bird.
Happy Texas Independence Day, y'all! I'm Dallas. How you doing today?
Great, how are you?
I'm excellent.
A former NFL cheerleader, Lady Bird ran the PTA and the local Liberty Prayer Circle.
Oh, my.
Oh, and Barry, I got the whole circle praying that ward of yours away. Jesus, take the wheel on this one.
The bruising on Lady Bird's forehead indicates she was bludgeoned to death. The body is still warm, suggesting that Lady Bird was killed within the last couple of hours. Sheriff Walker checks for physical evidence at the scene, discovering fingerprints on Lady Bird's ankle.
Gotta say, if I were going to bludgeon someone, I'd wear gloves. The fact that this killer didn't tells me this happened in the heat of the moment without much planning. Just more proof that we're looking for someone with major anger issues who could snap at any moment. You know, they say there's a monster in the heart of every man. In my case, it's the Cookie Monster.
Oh, ain't this just an ugly old thing? Who could have done that to my lady?
Sheriff Walker brings Lady Bird's husband, Buck, down to the station to answer a few questions.
Buck, I'm gonna have to ask you where you was this morning.
God, I can't believe you'd think that I did this to my wife. It just makes me madder than a wet hen.
Whenever a woman's a victim of foul play, we're gonna look straight at her husband or boyfriend. Why? because in most cases they did it. So guys, if we don't like being the automatic prime suspects, we, as a group, need to stop killing the women in our lives.
If you can just tell me where he was, I'd much appreciate it. I could get you out of here and back to grieving lady.
I started work at the ranch at 6 in the morning, and I was there till you called.
Can anybody prove it?
Everyone, I was in the field in full view of the entire place.
Sheriff Walker calls Buck's employer, confirming that he was, in fact, working in the field that whole morning.
He was here till you called him away, Sheriff.
Oh, yeah, Well, nice talking with you, bud.
Same here.
Yeah, well, we gotta get out duck hunting sometime soon. Been a dog's year.
Love to, Sheriff.
See ya.
Now that's what I call an airtight alibi. You can't even go to the bathroom without a bunch of witnesses noticing you're gone. There's no way you could slip off, kill someone, dump the body, and then make it back in time. I mean, unless you're dealing with a kidney stone, so your bathroom breaks are long and... Oh, sorry, TMI. Sorry, getting old is hard. Anyway, I think Buck's eliminated as a suspect.
Sheriff Walker hangs his hopes on finding a match for the fingerprints found on Lady Bird's body.
Walker.
Before the results can come in, though, Sheriff Walker gets a shocking report. Another body has been found.
Well, ain't that just a big pile of horse manure?
This town has gone from never having a murder to having 2 in a matter of days. That tells me law enforcement has a serious problem on their hands. Or everyone here is living in a small town horror movie. Don't turn off the lights.
When Sheriff Walker starts to examine the crime scene, he realizes this latest victim isn't human. It's a mannequin.
What the heck?
Seeing that the mannequin has been made up to look like Lady Bird's body, Sheriff Walker checks it for fingerprints, but can't find any.
Wait, so at the real murder scene, there's fingerprints, but here, nothing? That means that there are either 2 killers and the mannequin slayer is doing a way better job of covering his tracks, or we've got 1 killer who's learning. The question now is whether the mannequin is a taunt, or is a sign of something to come, maybe another murder, maybe a killer sidewalk sale.
I was the one who found her, you know.
News travels fast in Liberty, and soon everyone knows all the details of Lady Bird's murder and the mannequins.
It was awful. My best friend.
Don't go fixing to lie to us, Miss Clementine. We all know you couldn't stand Lady Bird. She won more jelly competitions than you can shake a stick at. And would you win? First place loser? That's all. Sorry about that. I just hate how she's turning this tragedy into the Clementine show.
I understand, Dallas. But between you and me, I don't like it either. But I don't think pointing fingers and laying blame is gonna help us solve this thing.
Any leads on who killed Lady Bird and that big dog yet?
No, ma'am. Don't you worry your pretty little head about it. I think with all the evidence that I've collected so far, we should have this thing solved pretty soon. Meanwhile, I'd like my favorite, a piece of cherry pie, if you would.
Coming right up.
Sheriff Walker is hoping the fingerprints taken from Lady Bird's body will point to the killer. But it comes back with no matches in the police system.
So every time we catch a criminal and put them in jail, we fingerprint them and put those prints in a system. If no matches come back, that means the killer isn't known to law enforcement, making him that much harder to catch. Now police have to work the case and hope they can crack it before any more locals or mannequins have to suffer.
Come in. Hey, Wade, thanks for coming down.
No problem, Sheriff.
In a desperate need for information, Sheriff Walker turns to the man who sees and hears everything. Liberty's mailman, Wade.
So, Wade, have you seen anything suspicious around town since Lady Bird's body was dumped?
No.
My family's from a small town in Texas, and I can tell you that the person who knows all the gossip is always the mailman. So I'm laying bets on the fact that Wade here has heard everyone's secrets. He's like the town confessor, but instead of confessions, he hears all the whispers about who's having affairs and who's the secret father of whose baby. You know, all the important things.
So, I really need your help on this one, Wade, before everybody in this town thinks I'm all hat and no cattle. You hear about any strangers?
Yeah. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I did. Darlene told Carl, who told Becky Ann, who told me, that the varmint in question was seen coming and going from Clementine's place.
Clementine's place.
That's right.
All right, thanks for this, Wade.
No problem, Sheriff.
Come in. Ah, Miss Clementine. Please, take a seat. Good to see you. Now, look, I don't want to get up in your business, Clementine, but I've heard some stories that vomit staying in your place.
You better be talking about a possum, Sheriff. Because I know you ain't referring to someone staying with me as no varmint.
Well, I gotta confess, I am.
Just to set the record straight, my cousin came down from New York City, and he left 2 days before Lady Bird was killed. So he ain't no varmint, just a Yankee.
All right.
When you're living in a small town and you know everyone in it, I get wanting the murderer to be a stranger. But in most cases, victims are murdered by people they know. So it's time to stop looking outward and to start thinking about who in town could be a real corn-fed killer.
Over the next 2 months, Sheriff Walker continues interviewing locals, but no new information comes to light.
Well, don't that just snap your goddess?
There are, however, new victims, as a series of mannequin and mannequin parts are dumped around town. Every 2 weeks, just like clockwork, they show up, each more gruesome than the last.
It's not unusual for a killer to taunt police with something like notes, puzzles, even dolls, or in this case, mannequins. But usually that happens when you've got something like a serial killer. In this case, you've just got one body and no leads, so why keep dumping mannequins? No matter what the answer is, though, it's time for police to figure it out before they look like a bunch of dummies.
2 weeks later, the next call comes in, right on schedule.
Walker. What? Another one? You're right there.
At the dump site, Sheriff Walker doesn't find a mutilated mannequin, but rather Clementine, bludgeoned to death, just like Lady Bird.
Damn, this town's going to hell in a handcart.
So now we've got a second victim who looks a lot like our first. Maybe this is a serial killer after all. And between the similar victims and the mutilated mannequins, I think we're looking at someone with more issues with women than Jack the Ripper.
When Sheriff Walker examines Clementine's body, he discovers several dark hairs.
Yeah, that's gonna help. It's gonna help a lot.
Knowing these could give him a DNA profile for the killer, Sheriff Walker gathers the hairs and sends them out for testing.
Yeah, I don't think my Nana would like to join a Grannies and Guns group, but I'll ask.
With another dead body and no suspects in sight, locals start focusing on protecting themselves. Some people get guns, while others go for more unconventional methods.
Dallas, your hair.
Yeah, Clementine and Lady Bird were both blondes, so I figured better safe than sorry.
All right.
Yeah, because in this tiny town where everyone knows everything about everyone, the killer would never know who's a blonde and who isn't.
Your usual?
I'll just get one to go. Gotta get back at it.
With panic sweeping the town, Sheriff Walker knows Liberty will be torn apart if he doesn't solve this case soon. He theorizes that whoever's been dumping the mannequins is most likely Lady Bird and Clementine's killer. If he can trace where the mannequins come from, then he thinks he might just catch the killer red-handed.
I don't know what's going wrong with this town.
It's a reasonable idea. The killings are the product of a sick mind. The mannequin mutilations are also the product of a sick mind. In a small town, how likely is it that you'd have two sick minds pop up at the exact same time? Remember, it's Liberty, Texas, not Hollywood.
Sheriff Walker visits every place in town with mannequins, checking to see if they are missing limbs and looking for any other relevant evidence.
Look at that.
Okay, that looks a lot like the paint on the mannequin limbs. I wonder why. Maybe, just maybe, because that is that paint. You know, I don't want to be the old man here, but in my day, we'd paint the town red, not the mannequins.
You want to talk to me about this, Winter?
Never seen it before.
Boy, you're more slippery than an eel right now.
Sheriff Walker hauls Winter, Liberty's sole goth, down to the station for questioning.
All right, Winter. You want to tell me about that paint now?
No, I do not.
A loner, Winter can't wait to graduate high school and leave town to follow his dream of becoming a funeral makeup artist.
Listen, boy, you'd be getting uppity with me if I were you.
I don't have to tell you a damn thing, Sheriff.
No, you don't. But if I were you, I'd start talking. I'm just fixing to put you in jail for the night. If you don't start talking.
Fine, it was me, Sheriff. I did it.
Wait, did the killer just confess? Seriously? All right, everyone, I guess we can all go home. No? Of course it isn't that easy. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. See that little mannequin humor? Just for you.
It was me, Sheriff. I did it. I did the mannequins. I did not do the murders, though. I'm not a serial killer.
Come on, you expect me to believe that you dumped all those mannequins just for the hell of it? Think I was born yesterday?
Everyone in this town already hates me. Why not make them sweat a little bit?
All right, then. If you're innocent, let's prove it. You wouldn't mind giving me some fingerprints, would you?
All right, fine.
To confirm Winter's story, Sheriff Walker sends out the teen's fingerprints and DNA for testing. When Winter's fingerprint and DNA results come in, they support his story. He isn't the Liberty Lady killer, just a kid with bad judgment and a dark sense of humor.
With the mannequin connection eliminated, this case just got a whole lot harder. All of a sudden, everything police think they know about the killer has to be re-examined. But cases like this are where you separate the Sherlock Holmeses from the Inspector Clouseaus.
Sheriff Walker hits a dead end with the case.
I don't know.
Until a new lead finds him.
Walker. What? You stay right there. I'm on my way.
He was right there.
All right.
When Sheriff Walker gets to Dallas's house, she reports having seen a man outside her window.
I was fast asleep, dead to the world, and then I hear this noise like glass breaking.
When Sheriff Walker examines the broken window, he notices something unusual. It looks like someone has been staking out Dallas's house and dropped a box from the town's only pizzeria.
Well, damn. It's a pineapple.
There's only one person in town with such an adventurous palate. Lady Bird's husband, Buck.
Wait, after all this time, could the killer be the first person Sheriff Walker interviewed in the case? That's not possible. Buck was already cleared in his wife's murder. Could there be more than one killer here? What is wrong with this town? No, seriously, if I was living there, I'd be packing up and vamoosing.
The next morning, Sheriff Walker brings Buck back in for questioning.
Now, Buck, I know we've danced this dance before, but I'm gonna have to ask you about your activities last night, your comings and goings.
Why?
Somebody broke into Dallas's place, and all the evidence points pretty much directly back to you.
No. Listen, all right? I was having a rough night last night, but I ain't go breaking in nowhere, all right? No. Wade, he came over, we got some beers, some pizza, and we were planning on staying up all night yakking and eating, but as soon as I started yawning, I handed Wade the pizza box, told him take leftovers and just hit the road.
Wade left with the pizza and the box.
Yeah. Why does it even matter? You investigate if I'm a good enough host now, too?
No, that case is closed long ago. No, you ain't.
With Buck ruled out as the intruder at Dallas's house, Sheriff Walker brings Wade back in for questioning.
So, Wade, you're saying you were with Buck all night?
Yeah.
It's interesting. He says you left kind of early because he got tired and wanted to get to bed.
Yeah, but that was the end of my night.
So you didn't break into Dallas's house on your way home?
I can't think of why I'd want to do that.
I can, if you're a bad guy. Are you a bad guy, Wade?
No, sir. No, sir, I ain't.
But Sheriff Walker isn't convinced. He wonders if Wade could be the Liberty Lady killer.
Well, if you're gonna hang your hat on being a good guy, you wouldn't mind giving me some DNA and your fingerprints. Well, looks like you weren't being too straight with me, Wade.
When the test results come back, they confirm that Wade's prints match those on Lady Bird's leg, and his DNA matches the hair found on Clementine's body.
You're so crooked, swallow a nail and cough up a screw.
I'm sorry, Sheriff. But I just couldn't help myself.
As Sheriff Walker interrogates Wade, he learns the mailman's issues with women stem from his relationship with his mother.
Hate you. I hate you. I can't stand you. You're worthless. I wish I'd never given birth to you. Ah!
From the moment he came out of the womb, she verbally abused him, before finally running off with her boyfriend when Wade was just 10 years old.
I hated them. I hated my mom the most.
So here we've got a kid who was abused and abandoned by his mother at a formative age, who grows up to kill women who look like her. You know what this tells me? That this was all about Wade getting revenge on his mom for the horrible things she did to him. Since his mom wasn't around, Wade couldn't get revenge on her, so he found the next best thing. Women who reminded him of her.
Wait, my goodness. Aren't you a sight for sore eyes?
Thank you, ma'am.
Why don't you come on in and rest those weary feet of yours for a minute? My goodness, it's hot as Hades out there. You must be parched. Would you like some of my grandmammy's famous peach lemonade?
Well, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I would.
Painfully shy, Wade developed a crush on Lady Bird, the first woman in town to show him any attention.
All right, there you are, darling. That should cool you right down. Wade, what are you doing?
But when Wade steps over the line, Lady Bird explodes.
Wade, I'm talking to you. Where are your manners? What, did your mother raise you to be like this, Wade? I don't think so. You think you could just come into my house, kiss a woman, take what you want?
I hate you. I can't stand you. You're worthless. I wish I never given birth to you.
I don't think so. Wade!
Wade had his psyche damaged at a formative age. Now in his eyes, he's just been rejected again, and by a woman who's a dead ringer for his mom. Suddenly all those feelings he had growing up are flooding back, wanting to make those feelings stop and make his mom and all the women like her pay. He just snaps.
No wonder your mother left you. Why would anybody stay with you, Wade?
Shut up!
You shouldn't have said that.
Wade tells Sheriff Walker that after killing Lady Bird, he got a feeling of control over his mother and his past. From then on, all he could think about was getting that feeling again, making women who look like his mother a potential target.
But the thing with serial killers, which Wade was well on his way to becoming, is that as they crave that rush of the kill more and more, they get sloppy. And that's exactly what happened when Wade couldn't resist stopping at Dallas's house on his way home from Buck's. Dallas is just lucky that she woke up when she did, because when it comes to murder victims, good things don't come in threes.
Wade is charged with 2 counts of murder and 1 of breaking and entering. At trial, he's convicted and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
When it comes to small towns, everyone thinks they know their neighbors. But even if someone looks like Mr. Rogers, they may have the heart of Jason from the Friday the 13th movies. That's why you gotta be like a mannequin and stay on your toes.